Men are good, as are you. Indeed, men are good, as are you. You know what else is good? International Men's Day, the 19th November. It's coming right up. And it's a good thing. And many people do think it's a good thing. Some people are thinking it may not be the best thing, or maybe it's just, well, we're not really sure about this kind of thing. And that's why it's not getting as much acceptance, because the misandry and the gynocentrism are kicking in and kind of pushing it down a little bit. So I thought we'd examine a site today that does a little bit of that. And I'll show you what we're talking about here. It's equityleaders.com. equityleaders.com. So they're selling equity to leaders. Want to build an inclusive workplace in a male-dominant field? We can help. Oh, we can help, they say. And here are some of the people that they say are their clients that they can help. But, man, what are they doing? I think they're selling woke. They're taking large corporations and saying, we can help you not get canceled. We'll make you woke. We'll make you so that everything seems just hunky-dory. Ay, 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 ay. Crazy. Well, it gets even crazier because these people, let's just say they're not cheap. Here's what they say here, and then it comes up. And let me get these things out of the way. There we go. And there it is. Pricing. 60 minutes, $1,350. That's worse than a lot of lawyers I know. Half day, $4,500. So they're selling woke to these corporations, and they ain't selling it cheap. It ain't coming cheap. So and according to their website, they have a lot of people out there they're influencing. Well, guess what? They put out a little thing about Men's Day, and let's look at that right now. Let's go to their blog, and there's the blog. And there it is. The very first blog post is, should my work support International Men's Day? You have to ask that question. Should my work support International Men's Day? Let's read and see what they have to say about it. Should my work support International Men's Day? There's a nice picture of looks like a father and a little boy. That's great. So here's where they start off. Isn't every day International Men's Day? Is a question you may hear 364 days a year. While why don't men get their own day is another question you may hear on or around March 8th annually. Do you know what they're talking about there? March 8th is International Women's Day. So they're saying, all the men complain, well, why don't we have our day? It's like they're making us, the men complain about this, and that every day is Men's Day. Now, they're not saying it. They're saying that's what the question is, but trust me, the very first thing they're doing is putting it out there, which does what? It trivializes the whole thing and minimizes the importance of men getting a fair shake. So that's the first paragraph. The reality is that both can be true at the same time. In inclusive, equitable, and diverse cultures, there really is something for everyone. Blah, 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 fiddle, 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 fiddle. Then here we go. Here's what they really want to say. Men are simultaneously overrepresented in media, politics, leadership, and other positions of influence and power in our culture, while the narrative of how boys and men are harmed by patriarchy is not yet on everyday conversation. Hi, hi, hi. So they're putting it out there that men really don't need a day because they have everything already. They've got it all set. And, if the people don't really know about the problems men have because, well, patriarchy hurts men too. And listen to what they say about patriarchy hurting men. This is well worth looking at. Suicide, overdose, premature death, violence at the hands of other men. So they don't talk about violence at the hands of women, which of course is 50% of domestic violence. So we're not starting on a very good foot. Recently I was asked, should my organization support International Men's Day? Question mark. We continue to have our conversation about International Men's Day. What are we celebrating on this day? Whose messaging do we want to amplify? We use International Men's Day. What? Whose messaging do we want to amplify? Wait a minute. The whole thing of equity leaders. Do you know what equity is? Equity means fair and impartial. And they're real partial towards the women's side and the gay side, right? And the trans side, but not the men's side. For some reason, they've got the men pegged as having it all and not deserving a day and whatever. And this is before we really get started. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Are these values aligned with our organization's mission, our vision, and our values? Ay, 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 ay. To help you make the best decision for you and your organization, we've compiled a list of reasons why you should or should not consider International Men's Day. You might be surprised to see the cons first, but we want you to go into this eyes wide open. So what do? They put the cons first. Ay, 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 ay. So let's have a look at the cons here. Let's see if we can make that a little bit bigger. That's a little bit bigger. Okay, so what do they say? Who's really behind IMD? Well, first of all, the group that runs the not-so-bad internationalmensday.com website, Dads for Kids, has some pretty awful views. Pretty awful views. Okay, let's back up just a minute. Let's go back to something in their site. The equityleaders.com site says, masculinity is often a culture of competition and domination. We will not recreate this in our pursuit of inclusive leadership. We will not cancel, shame, blame, judge, or guilt our way to transformation. Now, I want you to think about that. We're not going to cancel, blame, shame, judge, or guilt our way to anything. But they start off by saying, these are some pretty awful views. So they're contradicting themselves real bad. But anyway, here are the views that they think are terrible and shameful and whatever. The overwhelming conclusion of our current social science research has shown that the best environment for children is a 2 heterosexual parent household. No shit. How about that? The best way to ensure strong families is to support strong marriages. Remember, this is what they're saying is wrong. This is what they're saying is awful, the awful views. The best way to ensure strong families is to support strong marriages. This traditional family unit, a loving father, mother, and their children, is the best way to nurture, educate, and protect children. What's wrong with this? This is the best social security system the world has ever known. Oh, God. And they say these are some awful views. So that tells you where they're coming from. These beliefs are not on the front page of the site. You might not know or have the time to click through the links to find these foundational beliefs, and by no means would we ever want to unintentionally espouse homophobic or transphobic rhetoric. What? So they're saying that this stuff, the thing about fathers and 2-parent families, all the positive stuff about dads and fathers, was homophobic or transphobic? Oh, boy. I mean, that's just not right. That's just not right. They must not have looked at the site, the International Men's Day site at all. Because here they talk about all this stuff and more, but they never really talk about what International Men's Day stands for. I mean, it's pretty clear what International Men's Day stands for. They have it on their site. Here it is: to promote positive male role models. Celebrate men's positive contributions to society. Focus on men's health and well-being. To highlight discrimination against men. I think that's the one that gets them right there. That's the one that gets them. Discrimination against men. Oh my God. To improve gender relations and promote gender equality. And to create a safer, better world where people can be safe and grow to reach their full potential. I don't see much in there that could be called transphobic, homophobic, whatever phobic, or anti-woman. This is all positive stuff. It's all positive stuff, and they completely and utterly missed it. Now they go on to say, are the origins even worth celebrating? So again, they're minimizing. It's even worth celebrating, because here's what they do is they don't talk about what Men's Day is about. They talk about the origins of Men's Day in the most trivializing way. IMD was first conceived as an idea in 1991, faded, and then was revitalized for not so inspiring reasons, ? We should be so lucky to celebrate our favorite sports team's success, but I'm sure there are better reasons for a day to celebrate men. Then they have a quote. Jerome T. Luxing, I hope I got that right, who revived the event, chose November 19th to honor his father's birthday and also to celebrate how on that date in 1989 Trinidad and Tobago's football team had united the country with their endeavors to qualify for the World Cup. So they pull these two little things out. Oh, it's all about a sports team. It's all about my father's birthday. Okay. It's just, you can't make this stuff up. You seriously cannot make this stuff up. Now, here we go. It's not equivalent to other gendered days of recognition. Oh, no. You may have the best intentions, but this day is easy to fumble the bag. Fumble the bag? How about fumble the ball? Maybe we're from different places. We do not want to position the day as equivalent to women's or trans days, as recognition making the systematic oppression and marginalization of those groups experience and are striving to overcome. So we don't want to have a men's day because they were never oppressed. Oh boy. It's a nuanced lens to say that for all the benefits patriarchy bestows on men as a group, patriarchy harms individual men and boys deeply in many ways. Inviting discussions about power and privilege is a bit more complicated than growing a mustache for Movember. The answer is yes, you should definitely grow a mustache for men's health, and requires some effort and thoughtful reflection. So again, they're completely ignoring the purpose of Men's Day and focusing on little itty-bitty things that aren't really connected at all. They're trivializing, minimizing, and using misandry to negate the importance of men. I mean, men and women, right? We're equal. And their first name of their website is equity. Equity, come on. Great googly moogly. Oh, man. Let's see. How is adding value to your culture of inclusions? How is it adding value to your culture of inclusions? Much like the aforementioned days of recognition, what is International Women's Day without closing the wage gap? Whatever the hell that means. A performance if you bring International Men's Day to the forefront, make it meaningful in celebrating men's use of parental leave, access to male-specific mental health supports, or otherwise make the conversation uniquely impactful to your organization and the issues men are facing. So it's saying, if it's about parental leave, that would be okay. Or men's mental health, that would be okay. Men don't ask for help. And so, we need to help them ask for help. And, oh, God. Then they go into the pros. Well, let me tell you something. The pros are not much better than the cons. I mean, what's in it for me? Men sometimes feel left out of the conversation of gender. International Men's Day is an opportunity to engage male-identified employees, and leaders in conversations around gender norms and gendered experiences of men to show that they too have a stake in transforming the status quo around mental health and well-being, psychological safety, healthy relationships related, and blah, 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 blah. In other words, we're not going to talk about the hardships of men. We're going to talk about anything except, maybe men will learn something about transforming the status quo around mental health. It's like, it's just bullshit. So this is the essence of how different organizations will try and minimize International Men's Day. And in the process, what are they doing? They're basically contradicting their whole purpose, which is equity. Equity is celebrating both men and women, not just women, men and women. And what these folks really don't know is men are good, as are you. And that's enough for today. I'm going to put up another video probably tomorrow on International Men's Day on the greatness and goodness of men. And I hope you can share it. I'm going to put it up a little bit early before Men's Day so that people can share it all over the place because it's a beautiful video on the greatness and goodness of men. And on that happy note, men are good, as are you. You all take care. We'll see you then. Bye-bye. Men are good, as are you.